Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Black Moon Astro. This is Meg. In the last episode, I spoke about Saturn, the archetype, as well as Aquarius. And as you know, has been in Aquarius since December 17, and Saturn and Jupiter have conjuncted in the Great Conjunction last December 21st, 2020. Right? So, now in this podcast, because I'm trying out podcasts now instead of videos. So in this podcast, I'm going to be speaking about Saturn in Aquarius in the first house and Saturn's effect in the first house. If you watched my last video, I spoke lengthily about Saturn as an archetype, and I also explained that Saturn is probably the most complex archetype in astrology. For the first house, since Saturn represents structures, it governs the matrix that holds the structures in our lives and on earth together. It provides longevity, stability, it teaches us responsibility, hard work, which we need to do to achieve our goals. It is also the planet of our reputation, our public image, and how we want to present ourselves. And since the first house represents you and your life, what it's going to restructure at this point in your life is who you are, what you are, who you are, what face you want to present the world, what goals you want to achieve. You're going to start to be really contemplative about these matters. You're going to ask yourself questions like, what have I achieved in life? Where am I at now? Have I achieved all my goals? Do I have new goals to set? What goals do I want to achieve now? And what do I need to do? What do I have to do for myself to make that happen? For example, you want to start a new career in a new field, or if you're young and you want to change your course in university, then you know that you have to study further. You know you have to put in the work to study in order to achieve whatever goals you have. So Saturn is going to do this to you, teach you how to be responsible for your life, for yourself, it depends what it aspects in a chart. But with Aquarius, it's going to give you new and fresh ideas. You're going to be thinking outside of the box. You're going to have new ways and become more innovative in creating solutions to whatever it is you want to achieve in your life. Now, this is the positive side of Saturn, because Saturn is, Saturn does not deny you what you want. Doesn't deny you. It delays gratification. And there are lessons to learn in delayed gratification. We can't always get what we want when we want it. Now, if you've got your first house, your ascendant in Aries, and you're impatient, then like me, my first house is Aries, and when I want something, I want it now. Well, Saturn is going to teach me a hard lesson for sure. But it depends on the sign in your first house and how you're going to welcome Saturn teaching you these lessons. But if you have matured, and if you're beyond, let's say 34, 35, after your Saturn return, it happens between 27 to 31, but then really, I mean, Saturn's effect is long term. So sometimes you feel the energy before the 29 to 31, so 27 to 34, you kind of feel it still affecting your life. When I look at the chart, I can tell exactly how Saturn is going to affect a person. As it is transiting your house, for instance, in your first house, and let's say your ascendant is at 15 degrees, for example, Aries, and Saturn is at 0 degrees now, well, then it's going to take a while because Saturn stays in a sign for 2.5 years. when Saturn starts to cross and reaches the exact degree, as it's approaching, there are going to be a lot of frustrations. This is where all you put in all the hard work. This is where you get frustrated because things aren't happening the way you want, or you're impatient, or you feel that you have to work really hard and you don't see any results yet. So, as it approaches the exact degree of your ascendant, that is when it peaks. And so it depends what it aspects on your chart, if it's going to be rewards, or Saturn is known as the Great Malefic, so there are also hard karmic lessons to learn. So if you have been, for instance, eating well, exercising, taking care of your health, working hard, basically being a responsible, matured human being, then you'll be receiving nice rewards from Saturn. You're going to see the results of all the hard work you've put in. And so after it crosses the exact degree of your ascendant, it's the release point of Saturn. And that's where all the good or bad karma starts to come in. Okay, so that's how Saturn works as it crosses your house. So in the first house, like I said, it's going to make you think about what you want to redo, what you want to build from the ground up, what changes you want, how you want to achieve your goals, what new goals do you have in life. You're going to think about your status in life, where you're at, if you're happy with where you're at and where you want to take your life. And so with that kind of impact from Saturn, since Saturn is also a planet of solitude, you're going to spend a lot of time on your own. You're going to spend a lot of time wanting to think about these things. It's going to be all about you. This is one of the most important transits of Saturn. The first house is a very strong transit. It's a dynamic and life-changing transit. And wherever Saturn is at, and it refines. And so after it refines that house, these things that have transpired while Saturn was in your house are going to have long-term effects in your life. Whenever we look at a chart and we want to look at the longevity of a relationship or of a job, and we look at Saturn. Saturn is what gives longevity. If you want to see if a person's going to have a long life, then you look at Saturn in the houses that represent death, like the 8th house or the 12th house or the 4th house. This is where if Saturn is placed there, that means it's going to delay death, so you won't, you're going to live a long life till old age. So these are things, wherever Saturn is at in your natal chart, it prolongs, it delays. Now, wherever Saturn is at now as it transits, then it's going to do the same thing for that particular house and what that house represents. Saturn rules Aquarius, so it being an Aquarius and is a great place. It's strong, it's positive, it's functioning well. And Aquarius is the sign that belongs in the 11th house naturally, and the joy of Jupiter is in the 11th house. So Jupiter is happier now because in the past year when Saturn and Jupiter were conjunct in Capricorn, Jupiter was weak. And so when Jupiter is debilitated, it doesn't function as well. But now that Jupiter is in Aquarius, it's going to be functioning well in the sign that is ruled by the house, that rules the house of gains. And so wealth, gains. So whatever it is you have been working hard for, when Saturn rewards you with good karma, Jupiter is going to expand that good karma for you. Now, if it's bad karma, Jupiter is going to expand that as well. The planets are impartial. I mean, it's not like they have favorites. It all depends on you. Now, the good karma and the bad karma depends on you. Astrology can show you the most impactful events that will happen in your life but what you do with that knowledge is your free will. So if you have been doing a good job, you're going to get good results from Saturn. Saturn just enhances the energy. See, let's say there were no planets. Let's say there was no Saturn or Jupiter giving you any rewards. So of course in any normal situation, you work hard and you get good results. You don't work hard, you get bad results. What these planets do is give emphasis. It puts it front and center in that particular house in your life, because each house on a chart represents a different aspect of your life. So when it is in the first house, the main focus for that transit, 2.5 years for Saturn, like I said, is going to be according to what that house represents. So that's how the planets work with us. See? And if you look at your own life, think back to, when you were between 27 to 34. Look at the major impacts, things that happened, major events, good and bad, but major, pivotal points in your life, defining moments in your life. These are usually affected by the outer planets, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. These are the planets that have, and Jupiter too, greater impact on our lives, because the reason for that is because it takes them a longer time to transit our houses and a longer time to go around the chart. So there's time for it to build up its effects on us. Whereas the moon travels so fast, it's always changing every 2 days and 2.5 days. And Venus, Mercury, Mars, they move very fast. We feel Mercury, but its transit is so short, so we're just going to have a few glitches and problems with technology and what have you that Mercury represents, and then it's gone, right? And what's annoying about Mercury, it keeps coming back, but it doesn't change your life. It is not a life-changing event. So Saturn, Jupiter, and all the other outer planets have more profound and long-term effects on us. So with Saturn in the first house in Aquarius, you know, if you have plans right now and things that you want to do in your life, this is a very good time to build from the ground up, to change things about yourself, to change your habits, to change your diet, to educate yourself, to study more. Jupiter is also the planet of higher education. Aquarius is the sign of genius. Saturn is the sign of discipline. Put all of that together in the mix in your first house, which is all about you. You're going to reinvent yourself if that's what you want to do. If you want to modify anything in your life, this is a good time to do that, and then reap the rewards once Saturn crosses the exact degree of your ascendant in the first house. Okay, so that's Saturn in Aquarius in the first house. If you want to watch the video I did before this podcast about Saturn and the archetype in Aquarius, I discussed that too. Please look at the link below. All right, so thank you very much for listening. Have a nice day.